This player shoots better from close range, better from far away, and somehow worse overall. Seriously, blue makes 90% of close shots, pink makes 80. From far away, blue makes 20% and pink makes 10. Blue wins both comparisons. Now combine every shot. Blue drops to 55%. Pink jumps to almost 74. Pink wins overall. Keep your eye on those four numbers because none of them are fake, rounded into nonsense, or pulled from a suspicious spreadsheet in a basement. The arithmetic works. I checked it 3 times because I assumed I had broken division somehow. Here are the actual shots. Blue takes 10 close shots and makes 9, then 10 far shots and makes 2. 11 makes out of 20. Pink takes 100 close shots and makes 80, then 10 far shots and makes 1. 81 out of 110. Every subgroup favors blue. The total favors pink. This is Simpson's paradox, which sounds like something a cartoon dad would discover, but it can show up in medicine, hiring, sports, and basically anywhere. People summarize groups with one number. The weird part isn't that averages can mislead you. We all know statistics can be slippery little goblins. The weird part is that every separated comparison can point one way, while the combined comparison points cleanly the other way. So where exactly did Blue's advantage go? Blue's advantage didn't disappear. It got buried under where each player took their shots. Blue split the attempts evenly, 10 easy, 10 hard. Pink took almost everything from close range, 100 easy shots and only 10 hard ones. So the overall percentage is asking 2 questions at once. How accurate are you at each distance, and how often do you shoot from each distance? That second question quietly controls the weights. Blue's overall rate is half of 90% plus half of 20%, 55. Pink's overall rate is 10/11ths of 80% plus 1/11th of 10%, about 74. Pink's lower close range accuracy gets an enormous vote. Pink's truly dreadful far range accuracy gets a tiny vote, like a town council member whose microphone mysteriously stopped working. Blue gives the hard shots half the vote. That's the entire trick. An overall average isn't usually the simple average of the subgroup percentages. It's a weighted average, and the group sizes supply the weights. Watch the percentage bars again. Within each distance, blue stays above pink the whole time. Then the close and far bars slide onto a single number line, pulled according to how many attempts sit behind them. Blue lands between 20 and 90, exactly in the middle. Pink lands between 10 and 80, but much closer to 80. Nothing reversed inside either group. The mixture changed, which raises an annoying question. If the combined number and the separated numbers disagree, which one are we supposed to believe? Both numbers are telling the truth. They're answering different questions, which is less satisfying than declaring one of them the villain. But that's the deal. If you're asking who was more accurate during the shots they actually took, pink wins. 81 balls went in out of 110. No paradox there. If you're asking who would be more accurate from the same mix of distances, blue wins. At close range, blue is better. At far range, blue is better. Give them identical shot selections and blue stays better overall. We can test that by cloning the same basket of attempts for both players. 50 close shots, 50 far shots. Blue's expected score becomes 55 makes out of 100. Pink's becomes 45. The reversal vanishes because the weights now match. That phrase, same mix, is doing a lot of work. A comparison needs a target. Actual performance includes which situations occurred. Skill at a fixed difficulty tries to remove that difference. Neither target is automatically correct. A coach choosing a shooter may care about equalized distance. A person checking who scored more during a game cares about what actually happened. I used to treat adjusted statistics as the cleaned up version and raw statistics as the dumb version. That's too easy. Adjustment changes the question. Sometimes that's exactly what you need. Sometimes it erases something important. So before choosing a winner, we need to understand why the groups had different weights in the first place. Were those weights random, chosen, or forced? That mix can carry the whole story. Swap basketball distance for patient severity. 2 hospitals treat mild and severe cases. Hospital Blue saves 99 out of 100 mild patients and 30 out of 50 severe patients. Hospital Pink saves 970 out of 1,000 mild patients and 5 out of 10 severe patients. Blue has the higher survival rate for mild cases, 99% versus 97. Blue also has the higher rate for severe cases, 60% versus 50. Yet overall, blue saves 129 out of 150, or 86%. Pink saves 975 out of 1,010, about 96.5%. If a headline says Pink Hospital has better survival, the calculation is correct. It also hides the fact that blue treated a far larger share of severe patients. Maybe blue is the regional trauma center. Maybe ambulances send the hardest cases there. Suddenly, the low overall rate could partly reflect blue doing the difficult work. But careful, we still haven't proved blue causes better survival. Patients weren't shuffled between hospitals like cards, age, equipment, treatment choice, and a dozen other variables could differ. Simpson's paradox warns us that aggregation can reverse a pattern. It doesn't hand us the causal explanation in a gift bag. I know, mildly rude of it. Still, the picture tells us exactly where to investigate. The variable that splits the rows and changes the weights. Here that's severity. And now the uncomfortable part, choosing the wrong rows can manufacture almost any story you want. Severity helped because it affected both the hospital someone reached and their chance of surviving. That's what people call a confounder. Honestly, the vocabulary makes this sound more mystical than it is. It's a variable sitting in the middle of the comparison, tugging on both sides. Shot distance tugged on shot selection and accuracy. Illness. Severity tugs on hospital assignment and survival. When you combine across it, its unequal distribution leaks into the overall result. But splitting data is a knife, and knives can cut the wrong thing. Suppose a treatment lowers blood pressure, and doctors give stronger doses to the sickest patients. If we group by the dose patients received, we may accidentally sort people using the decision that happened after doctors saw how sick they were. If we group by a side effect caused by the treatment, things get even stranger. Conditioning on the wrong variable can create an association that wasn't there before. So the command isn't simply always split the data, it's draw the story that could have generated the data, then decide which comparison matches the question. On screen, watch severity point toward hospital choice and survival. That makes it a reasonable variable to account for when estimating hospital performance. Now watch treatment point toward recovery and also toward a side effect. If we keep only patients with that side effect, we've selected using an outcome of treatment. The arrows change what the subgroup means. Same table, shape, very different logic. This is where acute paradox grows teeth, because software can calculate every subgroup instantly and still have no clue which subgroup makes sense. Once you see the weights, you can build a Simpson reversal on purpose. That's useful because it shows the paradox isn't a rare arithmetic glitch. Start with two categories, easy and hard. Give blue a small advantage in both. Blue scores 90 versus pink's 80 on easy cases and 40 versus pink's 30 on hard cases. Now assign blue mostly hard cases and pink mostly easy ones. Say blue gets 10 easy and 90 hard. Pink gets 90 easy and 10 hard. Blue's total is 45%. Pink's is 75. The subgroup advantage can be as real and consistent as you like. If the difficulty gap is large enough and the mixtures are uneven enough, the total can still flip. Here's the screenshot version. Two slanted blue and pink line segments show blue above pink at both the easy end and the hard end. Then two large overall dots sit between those endpoints, with pink's overall dot above blue's. The lines say blue wins within categories. The dots say pink wins across the observed mixtures. The only moving part is where each overall dot lands along its line. That's Simpson's paradox in one frame. And yes, charts can hide it beautifully. A single pair of overall bars shows pink towering over blue. A grouped chart shows blue winning twice. Neither chart contains false data. Each chart suppresses a different part of the data generating story. When someone shows you an average, the useful reflex isn't immediate suspicion. It's to ask what got mixed together, and whether the mix differs between the things being compared. So an average arrives with hidden luggage. It carries the values inside each group, the sizes of those groups, and whatever process decided those sizes. You can inspect all three without becoming the person who ruins dinner by demanding a causal diagram for the dessert ratings. When a total and its subgroups disagree, first check the denominators. Raw counts usually reveal the trick faster than percentages. Then ask what the grouping variable represents. Difficulty, age, severity, a choice made before the outcome, or something produced afterward. Finally, say the question out loud. Who performed better in the situations they actually faced? Who would perform better under the same mix? What happens if we intervene and assign the mix ourselves? Those are different questions, so they can have different answers without arithmetic catching fire. Back at the court, blue really did shoot better from both distances. Pink really did have the better overall night. Once the shot locations are visible, the contradiction relaxes into two facts. I like this paradox because it doesn't expose a flaw in averages so much as a flaw in our habit of asking numbers to finish the sentence for us. The number says 74%. We silently add, therefore pink is the better shooter. That last part came from us. And here's the thing that still bugs me. Real data rarely arrives with one obvious close range and far range split. It arrives with hundreds of possible ways to group people. Somewhere in there, a reversal is probably waiting. The math can show us everyone. It still can't tell us which story deserves to be believed.